Hello, I'm Bonita Simmons, and I serve as the Chief Executive Officer for Tried by Fire, Inc. Our project is my sister's house. I'm standing here right now because of this woman, Miss Mary Davenport. I've never met her, but she, like me, thought that everyone deserves a place to lay their head. And so I would like to invite you in to my sister's house. Come on. I believe music is my passion, but serving the ladies at my sister's house and serving Tried by Fire, the organization, is my purpose. So recently we've had a retreat to now put some gas in the car, so to speak. We have the house built, we have it finished, we have the furnishings. So now what do we do? And we thought that it would be a good thing to have Mike Williams, who is a great facilitator. He's a very kind gentleman, to help us move along. And so with his experience with Habitat for Humanity, Mike came in and prepared a day for us with breakout groups to put some plans together. And not just put them together because we all know we're notorious for having plans, but then it's implementing. Okay, so we have to follow up. And he made us promise that we would indeed follow up. Well, we serve right now 9 counties. We're surrounded, including Craven, we're surrounded by counties who do not currently have a home for women who are coming out of prison, to our knowledge. We have some recovery houses, women who are struggling with substance abuse, but none that just focuses on the transformation of that woman or the re-entry of that woman when she comes out of prison. So it is our prayer to have more than one house. We tell everyone we want to get this one running and operating, get some of the glitches out, so we'll be very successful in opening multiple homes throughout the United States. Because why stop with North Carolina? If we can go to another state, let's do it. But we're going to take our time, and we're going to be moved by, we're going to be moved by the plan. And as the plan grows, as the plan has to be modified, then that's what we'll do. That's why it's good to have a good board of directors. So,
My name is Deidre DeRocher, and I'm currently the vice chair of the board of directors of Tried by Fire. And I have been the volunteer coordinator and primary grant writer since 2019, when I became involved with Bonita and this project.
Okay, I'm Dan Lawson. I'm the president of Tried by Fire. Also serve as chairman of the board. And
my role in building the house involved trying to secure grant funding for our construction and also for furnishing the house. And the thing that is exceptional is that the entire house and all of its contents have been fully paid for. And that just doesn't happen in the nonprofit world. So that has been very gratifying. The way that this project has been for me has been life-changing. But that's also because of meeting Bonita. She is a force unto herself, and she has inspired me about this project.
And then the community involvement, the community support. Whenever we had a open house event, the people that showed up, and other agencies like law enforcement that came out to show that they were very interested in what we were doing and that they were standing ready to support what we were doing. That just makes you feel real good. There's a song that says, the songwriter says, if I can help somebody as I pass along the way, then my living would have not been in vain. That's the kind of warm and fuzzy feeling I get from this project.
I'm Robert Brock. I am kind of an administrator. I'm going to say kind of an administrator. I'm the administrator / road manager for Bonita Simmons as well. And what it means to me, my sister's house means to me is, for one, I love the fact that this was a vision that God gave her over 20 years ago, and she stuck to it. And to see something that God gives you and it comes to fruition is amazing, that she didn't take down and give in on the dream that will be able to be a blessing to other people. So that means a lot to me in regards to, it gives you hope. For one, that when God gives you a dream, doesn't matter how long it takes. If he gave it to you, it'll come to pass. But the dream also impacts other people. So to see the house built now and to see what it means to the people in the community, just really lets you know that, God is true to his promises and that we're all connected, and keep hoping and keep your dreams alive.
So we take a little bit of a shift here, and you can stop hearing from number 13 and hear from number 1. She's going to talk to you about the history of Tried by Fire.
Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm very thankful that each of you all are here. I really am. When we talk about the history of Tried by Fire, we have to talk about my mom, my dad. They saw something in me in 1971 that said, she'll complete our family. Because in our introduction, I shared with you that I'm adopted. I'm 52 years old, and for all of those years, I've never been treated as an adopted kid. My mother and my father, when he was living, never said, she's our adopted child. It's always been, she's our daughter. And for those of you that never met my dad, a lot of people say, I act a lot like him. If God gives me a vision, if I am asked to do something, I am relentless in doing a good job. If I don't know how to do it, I'll find someone that can do it because I don't have all the skill sets. So in 1985, my dad knew that I loved singing, and he said, well, let's put together a little gospel group. Oh, wow. We sang everywhere. We sang, I don't know how many of you all remember the Cystic Fibrosis Telethon here in New Bern. For years we sang. We had the uniforms and all of that. And we sang throughout Eastern North Carolina. As I grew and the band members grew, they were older than I was. So life happened. They got married. Some had children. And I was still a youngin', so to speak, but still passionate about singing. And so I kept singing and I kept singing. And one day, my father, when he started his outreach ministry in Kinston, he said that he believed that I should sing in the prisons too.
2000, my father suggested that I start singing and sharing my gift in the prisons. Hadn't thought about it before. I'm like, okay, sure. And so we gone to several of the prisons here in North Carolina. And then one of my classmates invited me to Aliceville, Alabama. And she asked if I would do a concert there. And we actually did 2 concerts in one day at 2 camps. So I'm very drawn to the prison community. In fact, I had the ladies laughing. I said, ladies, I want you to always look at yourself and value yourself as beautiful and wonderful and smart and intelligent, because after all, you're in a gated community. And they just started laughing, yeah, we are in a gated community.
That's what we did. We just went to the prison and was feeling kind of good about it. So, when you do something good, you feel good. But when I came out, that joy quickly turned to sorrow, because these women, they were writing me. When I got a letter from the prison, I'm thinking they were going to say, oh, you sounded good. Thank you for coming and all of that. When are you coming back? And they did say that. They started the letter with that. But somewhere around third paragraph, they would say, hey, do you know of any place out? I don't have anywhere to go.
I got your letter today. Thank you for writing. It feels so good to get a letter from someone. I called my mother this month and she got mad because I call. She tells me to write, and I do write. But they won't write back. I'm glad I have you to talk to. I have to ask about my level 2. And Mrs. Barnes, she have not approved it yet, so I'm waiting on them. I hope you can be my sponsor. I'm closing now, but may God bless you in all that you do. Love, Shirley, 0083825.
There are things going on in my family that only I can fix. I'm sure you know what I mean by that. I will be so glad when this is all over. It's just too much. I think every fiber of my existence is exhausted. Hey, Bonita, girl, you just don't know how much you have blessed me. You made my Christmas complete. I love you, Bonita. And everyone here was touched by your encouraging words and song through Christ. They have been asking for you to come back, and I am going to give them your address for those who want to write you. There has been a lot of questions about the House of Restoration, so I need to get some information so I can talk to the ladies about it. Love you, Joanne.
So in our area where our church was, at the time, it's called South Kinston. As a matter of fact, that area is called Golden Progress. Is that it? Golden Progress in that area, Lincoln Street. And there were some little, what we call shotgun houses. I don't know if y'all know about those, but there were the kind of houses that, hey, you go in the front door, you go out the back door. It's not, not a lot of luxury. But there were a couple that were available. Then we had a cousin who had a trailer that was unoccupied. It was vacant. We had another friend here in New Bern that had a trailer that was vacant. And my husband and I had an apartment that was vacant. So my father said, okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to put these women in homes that we already know people. And the church, our friends, different ones, we'll just let them know what we're doing and if they would like to donate. Sounded good to me. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And we did for about 2 years till the money started running out, because we didn't have a 501c3. It was just from our heart. It was a part of our church ministry. So I began to put things in action to get the 501c3. Now, at this time, my dad had already died. He died in 2008. He didn't see what you're sitting in. But because he put it in me, just got to believe. He knew it would come to pass. Because like my father, I'm relentless. If I have to walk alone, it'll get done. If I have to come out of my pocket, it'll get done. Because it's helping somebody else. I'm grateful because my husband, he is a straight arrow. He's worked for many years with the government and retired in 2016 from the post office. So he already had a plan for our home. Home paid for, cars paid for, children's college is securely taken care of. So our event, walking in my sister's shoes to get the money for the 501c3. 2013, we applied for the 501c3. 2014, we received the 501c3. And so then in between, there's life. And my husband, as many of you all know, I sing all over the place. And he was like, you know what? You just need to stop that try-by-fire business and do your singing and just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Get your rest. Because you don't have to do that. Something was tugging. Something said, but if not you, then who? Because I'd been here for a little while and I had not seen or heard of a house for women coming out of prison in this area. How many of you all are from Craven County and been here for over 20 years? Have you all ever heard? No.
Rosa Burning. I am Bonita Simmons' mother. She wanted to fulfill the vision that my husband had started. And I thought it was a bit much, but Bonita, no, because she loves her father so that she wanted to make sure that the vision, that he started was fulfilled. And that's how it all, started with my husband. And I knew she could do it because that's the type of person Bonita is, which she make up her mind, to do something. She's going to do it, no matter what anyone say. So, there was times I was wishing that she would not take on such a big endeavor, but she did, and I'm thankful today that she did. It just blew my mind when I first saw the house and when I saw it coming together, because I was there from the beginning, and it didn't look like much. I said, it's not going to be able, to do all of this. But when you see the house today, every time I see it, like tears come in my eyes, because I know it was God. It's the God thing that, that he worked through Bonita. And that's the type of person that Bonita is. When she set out to do something, she does it.
I'm not a native person of Craven County, but my family is. And when I did relocate here in 2017, I started working at Craven Community College as the Director of Community Workforce Readiness. And during that time, I was involved with the Craven Hamaco Reentry Council, where we work with those that are returning from prison and jail to help remove barriers so that they can thrive upon their return back into society. So we did find a space, but it needed to be appropriately zoned so that you can perhaps put a transitional home in a space. And that had its challenges, but through God and mercy and Bonita's perseverance, it happened. So then we had a house, and we was going to do all these renovations with the support of Habitat for Humanity. And, after a lot of research, a lot of looking at the property, it made sense that it needed to be destroyed. But God had plans. And so this is really the first rezoned transitional home for women getting out of prison and jail that's in the city limits of New Bern. So one of the things that was a wow moment as we was going through this process to get rezoned was a lady stood up in front of the mayor and the board of aldermen, and she said, people getting out of prison and people that are in prison, they're devils and they're hopeless and can never go to heaven. And I am justice involved. Did 5 years in the federal penitentiary. And I know I'm not a devil. And I hope, and I know that I'm God's favorite guy, so I'm going to heaven. But according to her and her perception, just because you've been to prison, you're not going to heaven. But she forgot that Jesus Christ himself was in prison. So to hear that, I knew that we had hearts and minds to change and to give a more a more reasonable and visual perception and help to change that mind.
As I've done the research for grants, I have found a world that I didn't know existed. I have learned so much about how women come to be incarcerated, what happens to them and their children while they are incarcerated, and the unique challenges they have once they are released from prison or jails that make it exceedingly more difficult than for men who are in the same situation. There's a true double standard for women because women, and particularly mothers, are held to a much higher standard, so they're not supposed to be in trouble. And the kind of secondary passion for me is not only to help women get second chances, but to be concerned with their children, because if we don't break the cycle of poverty, if we don't break the cycle of violence, if we aren't supportive to families who have parents who are incarcerated, the children wind up being significantly impacted. And so those are some of my newfound passions and purpose in life. 12% were homeless before they turned 18. 19% were in foster care at some point.
Although women are more likely than men to enter prison having received a high school diploma or an equivalent like a GED, over half, or 53%, did not finish high school. Over 26% of incarcerated women were homeless in the year before their arrest, and 53% were unemployed before they were arrested. More than 2/3, or 68%, shared a history of physical or sexual abuse. And I found this really shocking, another study of women in jails and prisons found that 98% had experienced some form of trauma in their lifetime. Women in prison are 58% more likely to be parents of minor children, and this increases to just over 80% if you count women in jails and children up to the age of 18. Substance abuse disorders and other mental health and behavioral conditions will perhaps be the biggest challenge for our guests and for our staff assisting with appropriate counseling services and support. This is one of the things that I find it really interesting, because a lot of the statistics and my own personal assumption was that the majority of women that we were going to be dealing with would be women of color, because nationally, statistically, women of color are the highest percentage of individuals arrested and convicted. With drug offenses becoming the primary reason for arrest, that demographic has shifted. Mm-hmm. So we now have a lot more Caucasian women coming into the justice system. And interestingly enough, that tips things upside down in terms of people's expectations about, well, what are we going to do about it now? Mm-hmm. It's like it was invisible before, but now we got to do something. Mm-hmm. So reentry is now one of the new trends, if you will, and that's good for us because that means that not only we're going to be able to get some attention, but maybe we'll get some new opportunities for funding. The responsibility for ensuring the success of my sister's house depends on our board. and our advisory committees and our supporters and our donors to meet our own series of challenges and to stay focused on our shared mission to change lives.
One of our supporters is Mr. Midget, and he represents a wonderful group in New Bern called Random Acts of Kindness. And Random Acts of Kindness have been just that. They have supported Tried by Fire and our project, My Sister's House, with various acts and random acts of kindness, supporting us financially, teaching us about networking in our city, having lasting relationships. That was one of the things that my father was very, very key on, and that is building relationships. I don't want to just meet you and we seal a deal and then later on there's nothing. I want to be able to have a relationship with you, build on that, and if you need me, you know that you can call, and vice versa. So Mr. Midget is a real solid man, and I'm very grateful. Our organization is very grateful to him and Random Acts of Kindness for their support of Tried by Fire.
I'm from Pamlico County. I live in Grantsboro, but I worked in New Bern at Stubbs Purdue Law Firm. Long story short, I met Bonita because we helped a lady named Juliet Rogers, which was the director of RCS at the time. And she came to us and we helped her. And I guess she told Bonita that you need to go meet Angelo. And so Bonita called me on the phone, so I invited her to our fellowship meet from 8:30 to 10 o'clock. And it's from all different churches, from the Catholic Church, Presbyterian, Methodist, Baptist. We meet, have our Bible study. And we meet from 8:30 to 10. We used to meet at Captain Ratty's, and we have breakfast buffet. We feed, it don't cost nobody nothing. We have different guests to come in and give their spiel why they need help. And we have different ones to come in. And Bonita came and she introduced herself about Tried by Fire. And I think we was the first one to really get on board with her. Buzzy Stubbs, our owner and president, he have a room called Buzzy. You probably seen upstairs, so Buzzy Stubbs room. And we always donate to her. We give her a check. She comes to us. We always donate. And she speak highly of us. She said, thank you for y'all. Thank you for y'all. What I believe is that everyone should have access to a second chance. And it's a fundamental right that should be available to everyone that have, because once you pay your debts, everybody that go in and you change. I can remember when I was 16, 17, 18, and you mature, the things that you done when you were 16, maybe you didn't go to jail for, but it wasn't all good things. And you matured out of it and you had a chance because maybe God spared you. I mean, I can't say they were bad, but some things wasn't good. Some things I regret that I done when I was 16 years old. And I think everybody should have a second chance in life. And some people, you can't be punished because we need people back in our society to work. For the simple reason, we still have vultures out there. And you take a person, I don't care, male or female, you let them out of jail and say, all right, it's it. It's almost like having a kid. And then 3 years old, you go, hey, hello to the world. You almost treat them like an animal effect. But in order to keep them out of it, give them a purpose. Right here, we give a purpose and say, this is what you can do. And it keep the people come around and say, I give you $20, I'll make you special women prisoners. And people want to eat. They want to have money. I mean, it's a natural thing. And this right here give them a sense of pride. And when I use that word pride, I always like this word pride. And it's an acronym. I always go, pride is, the P stand for personal, the R stand for responsibility, the I is in, and the D is daily, and it is effort. Personal responsibility and daily effort. So all you got to do, wake up every morning and say, pride. And it give them a sense of pride and a purpose that you don't have to have this guy come to you and you know, at most time they beat him up and whatever, and then he owns you. And people, I think when a lot of people get out of jail, they say, I don't want to come back here. I'm going to have a better life. A lot of them is mothers. And I think this is great. This is great.
My sister's house, if ever you Google us, if ever you find yourself needing a place for your loved one, probation officers, if you need a place for one of your clients, when you look us up, we are a house of love. We are a house of hope, healing. We are a house of more than one chance. We are a house that loves, and the house was built with this in mind, having a home for women when they come out of prison to restart, to start over, to put together their plan before they re-enter society. Many people don't know that it is imperative that female or male, when they come out of prison, they have to have an address. If they don't have an address, they cannot succeed. They cannot make it. And a home plan is very important. Sometimes when they leave prison, they still don't have a home plan. It is supposed to have already been a part of their release packet to have a home plan, but sometimes that doesn't happen. So in the event that there is a client, there is an individual who needs a place to stay, to get their plan together before re-entering, and their justice involved, my sister's house is the place that they would want to come so that they can start again. They can start again, unbiased, no prejudice, non-judgment. Just come, and we'll let them, with a lot of love, do the work. Because again, we're a place that we just believe. We believe that there's nothing impossible to them that believe. So that's my story, and I'm kind of sticking with that.
Remember, all things are possible to them that believe. We believed we could do it, and you helped us. So continue to help us make a difference. Thank you so much. Bye now.
Only God. Only God. Only God. You ask me how I know. Only God. Only God. Only God. Only God. Who else but God can make the doctor shake their head? Woo! Hallelujah. Who else but him? Only God can pronounce life when there was death. Only God can create the miracle. Only God can solve the mystery. Only God. Only God. Only God. You ask me how I know, because He did it for me. Only God. Only God. Only God. Only God. Let me prove it to you. Who else can save you? Only God. Who else can deliver you to? Only God. He is the chief cornerstone. Hallelujah. God. He promised never to leave you alone. Oh,